Imagine a criminal organization so deeply entrenched in society that it's almost considered a necessary evil. Welcome to the world of the Yakuza. The Yakuza, a name that reverberates with an air of mystery and intrigue, represents one of the most notorious criminal organizations in the world, but they are far from your run-of-the-mill gangsters. Deeply rooted in Japanese society, the Yakuza are not mere criminals, but an integral part of the social fabric, entwined in a complex web of tradition, honor, and ruthless pragmatism. Their origin traces back centuries, steeped in a history as elaborate as the tattoos that adorn their bodies. The Yakuza, unlike many criminal syndicates, operate in broad daylight, their existence acknowledged, even somewhat accepted by the Japanese public. Their influence extends beyond the underworld, reaching into the realms of business, politics, and even entertainment. Bound by strict codes of conduct, the Yakuza live by principles of loyalty, honor, and a hierarchy as rigid and structured as any corporate ladder. These principles, while seemingly noble, are a stark contrast to the ruthless and violent tactics they employ to maintain control and exert influence. Their elaborate tattoos, a hallmark of their identity, are more than just body art. They are a symbol of commitment, a testament of their lifelong dedication to the organization. Each one tells a story, a narrative etched in ink, reflecting their status, achievements, and in some cases, their transgressions. But don't be fooled by the allure of their tradition and folklore. The Yakuza are a force to be reckoned with. Their criminal activities span a wide spectrum, from gambling and prostitution to high-level financial fraud and political corruption. They rule the underworld with an iron fist, their reputation built on a foundation of fear and respect. Yet, despite their notorious reputation, the Yakuza remain an enigma, their world shrouded in secrecy and shadow. The deeper you delve, the more complex and intricate their web becomes. Now let's delve into the origins of this notorious organization. The Yakuza, contrary to popular belief, didn't just appear overnight. Its roots stretch back to the 17th century during Japan's Edo period. The Yakuza's predecessors were not the fearsome figures we associate with organized crime today. Instead, they were itinerant peddlers and gamblers, often considered outcasts in their communities. These peddlers, known as tekiya, were street vendors selling illicit goods. Their existence out of the mainstream gave rise to a unique subculture, characterized by a strict code of conduct and hierarchy, which eventually defined the structure of the Yakuza. On the other hand, the gamblers, or bakuto, lived on the fringes of society. They were known for their flashy tattoos, a tradition that survives in the Yakuza's intricate body art today. Over time, these two groups began to organize into larger collectives, forming the early foundations of the Yakuza. As the tekiya and bakuto grew more powerful, they started offering protection services to local businesses, effectively becoming the first Yakuza families. By the mid-18th century, these groups had become so influential that they were even granted official recognition by the government. But the Yakuza's transformation into an organized crime syndicate truly took shape during the tumultuous years of the Meiji Restoration in the late 19th century. The rapid modernization of Japan led to widespread social unrest, creating a vacuum that the Yakuza were only too happy to fill. They expanded into various criminal activities, from extortion and loan sharking to prostitution and illegal gambling. Over the centuries, the Yakuza have evolved, adapted, and survived, always finding ways to thrive in the shadows of Japanese society. Their influence has reached far beyond the criminal underworld, affecting politics, economy, and even popular culture. From the tekiya and bakuto of the Edo period to the notorious crime syndicate we know today, the Yakuza's journey is a testament to their resilience and adaptability. From humble beginnings, the Yakuza grew into a force to be reckoned with. As Japan changed, so did the Yakuza. The Yakuza's evolution is a fascinating tale of survival, adaptation, and expansion. From their humble beginnings in gambling and peddling, the Yakuza have always been acutely aware of the societal changes around them, and have adapted accordingly. During the Meiji Restoration in the late 19th century, Japan was rapidly modernizing and industrializing. The Yakuza, too, were quick to adapt their operations to fit this new landscape. They moved from the streets into more organized and lucrative enterprises. The underworld of vice and crime became a thriving industry, and the Yakuza were at the heart of it. Prostitution, a profession as old as time itself, became a goldmine for the Yakuza. They ran the red light districts, providing protection and managing the business. They were the unseen hand controlling the flow of money and power. As the 20th century rolled in, the Yakuza extended their reach into the world of drug trafficking. In the aftermath of World War II, as Japan was left in ruins, the black market flourished. The Yakuza seized this opportunity, trafficking everything from food to cigarettes, and of course drugs. Their influence grew exponentially, as did their wealth. But the Yakuza didn't stop there. They saw another opportunity in the post-war economic boom. They moved into corporate crime, infiltrating the very fabric of Japan's booming economy. They got involved in real estate, stock market manipulation, and even construction. The line between the underworld and the corporate world began to blur. The Yakuza's ability to adapt wasn't limited to their criminal activities. They also evolved their structure and codes, becoming more organized and hierarchical. They transformed from street gangs into well-oiled criminal enterprises, with a clear chain of command and a strict code of conduct. So, what can we learn from the Yakuza's evolution? It's that change is the only constant. Whether it's the societal shifts of the Meiji Restoration, the devastation of World War II, or the economic boom of the post-war era, the Yakuza have always found a way to adapt and thrive. As we've seen, the Yakuza's ability to adapt has been key to their survival and growth. Today, the Yakuza faces new challenges and a changing landscape. This isn't your grandfather's underworld anymore. The world of organized crime, much like the rest of the world, is rapidly evolving. The Yakuza, Japan's notorious criminal syndicate, is finding it harder and harder to keep up. The first and perhaps most pressing challenge they face is increased law enforcement scrutiny. Gone are the days when the Yakuza could operate with relative impunity. Today, the Japanese government is cracking down hard on organized crime, making life increasingly difficult for Yakuza members. New laws have been enacted targeting Yakuza activities, and law enforcement agencies have been given more resources to combat them. This has resulted in a significant decline in the Yakuza's power and influence. Next, we have the shifting economy. The Yakuza has traditionally made its money through a variety of illegal activities, including gambling, prostitution, and drug trafficking. However, these traditional revenue streams are drying up. The rise of online gambling and the legalization of certain drugs in many parts of the world have hit the Yakuza's bottom line hard. Finally, there's the issue of declining membership. The Yakuza's strict codes of conduct and rituals, once a source of pride and identity, are now seen as outdated and unattractive by many young people. As a result, the Yakuza is struggling to recruit new members, leading to a steady decrease in their numbers. The ongoing fight between the Japanese government and the Yakuza is a battle for the soul of Japan. On one side, you have a government determined to stamp out organized crime and bring about a safer, more prosperous society. On the other, you have a centuries-old criminal organization fighting tooth and nail to survive in a world that's changing faster than they can keep up with. The Yakuza's future may be uncertain, but their legacy is undeniable. The Yakuza may be down, but they're certainly not out. As we've seen throughout history, they've proven themselves to be incredibly resilient, capable of adapting to even the most adverse circumstances. Only time will tell what the future holds for this infamous organization. The Yakuza's story is one of resilience, adaptation, and survival. From humble beginnings as gamblers and street peddlers in the Edo period, this infamous organization has evolved into a complex, multifaceted entity that has its fingers in many pies. From organized crime to politics and from the economy to entertainment, they have left their mark in every corner of Japanese society. Throughout history, the Yakuza have been able to adapt to the changing times, always finding a way to survive. They've weathered crackdowns from the Japanese government, societal shifts, and even natural disasters. They've transitioned from street gangs to corporate entities, from petty theft to economic manipulation, and from operating in the shadows to influencing the highest echelons of power. The Yakuza's enduring influence is evident in all aspects of Japanese society, be it the fear they instill in their victims, the fascination they inspire in filmmakers, or the disdain they provoke in the authorities. Their unique rituals, codes of conduct, and their iconic tattoos are cultural phenomena that have both intrigued and repelled. But it's not all roses for the Yakuza. The modern world has brought new challenges for this old organization. The Japanese government's persistent efforts to curb their activities, the growing societal intolerance towards organized crime, and the advent of new technologies are all hurdles that the Yakuza must overcome to survive. There's also a growing awareness and concern about the victims of Yakuza violence, and the stories of former Yakuza members are shedding light on the darker aspects of this organization. the Yakuza's role in the economy is also being scrutinized, as their illicit activities could potentially destabilize it. From the backstreets of Edo to the skyscrapers of Tokyo, the Yakuza have left an indelible mark on Japan. But as they face an uncertain future, one thing is clear: the Yakuza's story is far from over.